Bonus edition of the Confident Live Marketing Show as we plow forwards towards episode 200, the special 200th edition of this podcast and the 4th anniversary. I'm going back into the archives, looking at the best moments, the best interviews, or the best nuggets, golden nuggets of those interviews.
You're listening to the Confident Live Marketing Podcast.
So this episode is sponsored by my good friends at Adobe Express. You can find out more at iag.me/Adobe Express. Adobe Express is an amazing tool. It's a tool that helps you create stunning visual content, whether that's images, videos. It also helps you edit PDFs and videos and images and all that kind of stuff. It also has a huge stock library of images, fonts, videos, and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about how to create some stunning content. Let's go over to my Adobe Express over here. They've actually updated this, updated the UI, which is cool. I love, one of my favorite bits about Adobe Express are the quick actions. So we've got easy ways to remove backgrounds, resize images, convert between different formats like JPEG, PNG, even SVG if you're feeling fancy and cropping images. And you can convert videos to GIFs, to animated GIFs. How cool is that? Trimming videos, resizing, and then you've got all these PDF tools like editing, combining, and things like that. Now, you might have some of the professional tools from Adobe, like Adobe Acrobat and Photoshop. You might have the Creative Cloud subscription. But if you don't, you've got all of these built in to Adobe Express. And even if you do, like me, sometimes it just feels overkill to have to load up Adobe Acrobat or Photoshop when you can just do it within Adobe Express. So let's just, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on, I'm going to create a social post and show you how easy this is to do. So with Adobe Express, you can either start with a blank canvas, which is kind of what I've got here, or you can use one of the templates. Now, I'm currently searching for social media graphic. I want to create a very simple quote graphic that I can show on Instagram. So I've got the square format here. I could change that to say to a portrait one for Instagram stories, or landscape for other social media ones. But I'm going to just use this here. Now I want to change the colors. So I've got here, there's a coffee cup, there's a computer, there's a desk underneath it. I'm quite happy with that. I think I could change the background, but I think maybe I'll just, yeah, that's probably, I can zoom in a little bit. But I think that looks pretty cool, like the way it is. I can also add some filters to make add different colors. That looks a little bit trippy, but maybe I'm going to do that, a slightly bluer one there. Now I'm going to change the color. So the fill, what do I want for my text here? I'm going to change that to my Confident Live colors here. Now that's one of the cool things you can do here. You can upload your own branding, so colors and logos and things like that. So I'm going to change it to my red. I'm also going to do it for there, for the heading. And I also want to, do I want to change that? I don't know whether I do or not. No, I don't think I do. I don't think I want to do that. No, that looks cool. I'm happy with that. And then I can just now add my logo. So I'm going to go to libraries. I've already created a library for my Confident Live Marketing podcast. I'm going to put my image in here. I'm going to make that smaller, put it, say, at the bottom. I can also put my little logo bug at the top. And I'm going to put that on the top right there. I could even put it in the coffee mug, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make that smaller, and I can even put, this is going to be too busy, but I can even put my Confident Live logo in there as well. So yeah, that probably doesn't look like great, but just showing you what you can do. So it's very, very simple. What I can even do here is do things like select the image below, and I can blur it as well, which I quite like. So you've got some blur effects there. Cool. So what I can then do is just download that. I can download it as a PNG, a JPEG, or a PDF. And I can even schedule this on social media. So let's just click on that. And this loads up So for some reason, my social channels, I need to connect them back in. But I could connect that to Instagram and Twitter, and then just add a caption in here, and then I can schedule that out, and that will get posted out to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn really easily. So that is really, really simple to do. So that is Adobe Express. I love Adobe Express. Highly recommend it. Head on down to iag.me/Adobe Express and give it a whirl.
You're listening to the Confident Live Marketing Podcast.
I'm going to be interviewing, or going back to an interview I had with my good friend Libby Langley, talking about strategy and fun as well, a bit of fun in there. And my friend Ben Amos as well from Down Under. We're going to be asking him about strategy as well. So I'm excited about this because strategy is something that we often push to one side. We get focused on the tech, or sometimes it's the negative stuff, like, oh, I can't get in front of the camera, I'm struggling with that. And I've talked about that a lot, but strategy is really important when it comes to any kind of content, particularly live video content, I think, but actually really any type of content, podcasts, blogs. Why are you doing it? You have to ask that question, why? But it's also about having a bit of fun as well. Now, these bonus episodes are a little bit different. They're shorter and they are technically not live. So I'm pre-recording this, but they go out live on a Friday afternoon in the UK, at least. That's morning US time. But the podcast comes out at the normal time, Friday morning. So if you have not yet listened to the podcast, go to iag.me/podcast and you can subscribe or follow, whatever word you want to use, in your favorite podcast app, and all the details are there. But it would be amazing if you're listening to the podcast if you could join me live. It's 3 p.m. UK time. Every Friday is when this goes out, and I always try and be there in the comments. So if you have any questions, I will be there. I'm broadcasting that on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn as per usual. Well, let's go back into the archives. So who have we got up first? We've got Libby Langley, who is amazing. She has just written a book. I'm going to actually just get the details of that book. I'll talk about that after this. But this is a question really about, or talking about, fun in our business. You know, strategy is about many things. It might be about growing your audience. It might be about growing your profits or your business in general. But how about also having a bit of fun as well? Let's go over to Libby now.
If you run your own business and you're not enjoying it, then you shouldn't be doing it anyway. And really, for marketing yourself, which is what a lot of us in service businesses, entrepreneurs in service businesses, are doing, if we're not engaging and lively and having a good time doing what we're doing, why would anyone choose to work with us? And yes, I know there are a million caveats to that. But if the more fun you have, and I'm not talking about being really stupid, I'm just talking about if you're saying something and you make yourself laugh, that's great. And that's good. And that's personality that comes across. And if you find your content boring, so will everybody else. And that's really the kind of crux of the matter, is that it's okay to enjoy it. It's social media. People are not on social media to learn astrophysics. They're on there to waste time while they're waiting to pick their kids up from school, or because they don't want to get out of bed, or they're cooking the tea or something. And remembering that social media is ultimately a time waster should help you craft content that is more accessible in snippets, small snippets, and catches people's eyes, attention, and enthusiasm. So it's okay to have fun with stuff. You're not coming across as a joke if you do that.
Yeah. That's great from Libby. And by the way, her book is called Life in Business: Easy Ways to Work Less, Earn More, and Embrace True Happiness. I think we all want a bit of that, don't we? We definitely do. So thank you for that, Libby. What do you think about that? Because I think, so, you know, I think with any kind of content that we're creating, I know that Libby was talking specifically about social media there. She's massively into Instagram, so do follow Libby on there. I do think we should be open and honest and have a bit of fun as well. Now, is is the kind of, is social media all about time wasting? Yeah, possibly. It depends on how you consume it. For me, I don't actually have an awful lot of time to waste, and if I am going to waste my time, I'll probably watch Netflix. And maybe that's my kind of issue with the likes of Instagram. But it doesn't have to be. It can be humor. It can be something that's deep. Just reflect your personality, and I think that's what I'm focusing. That's what I'm looking at doing over the next month or two. I'm focusing on what actually am I really, what's fun for me, what interests me, and how can I put that through forward on social media and on my live shows. So I'm gibbering on there, but hopefully that makes sense. Well, I want to go over to Ben now, Ben Amos, who I haven't seen Ben for ages. We only tend to see each other at big conferences like Social Media Marketing World, and I've not been at Social Media Marketing World since 2020. But Ben is a video strategist, so strategy is really like his big thing. And so I asked him about the hook that we have at the start of our videos. That the hook is like the first thing that you talk about to hook people in, to gain their interest into your videos, whether it's live video or pre-recorded video. I think this is an area that I still need to improve a lot on. So I'm interested to hear what Ben has to say here. Any tips on constructing a good hook? Because I know a lot of people struggle with this. How do you hook people in to what you're going to talk about? Because I don't see it being done that effectively very often.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's both an art and a science. So I think there's science to it around understanding how to hack human attention, which is, I guess, the most important thing to recognize there is attention comes from relevance, right? So if someone watching a video realizes very quickly that this is relevant to me and me in my situation right now, and what either I'm looking for, like why I've come to YouTube, to use YouTube as an example, or something that's relevant to me. So the hook section in, say, a social media or Facebook video, imagine they're just scrolling the feed. What's going to hook them through the relevance to that person, right? So when you think about the audience first, which is where every good video strategy needs to start, is understanding your audience, then you can create content that hooks the ideal audience in a way that's relevant to them. Another really valuable way to consider that is also the idea of opening loops in your hook, right? So you might have heard of this idea before around, if you can leave people thinking, oh, I wonder what he's going to say there, or I wonder what comes next, or I have to keep watching now because he's opened this loop in my brain and I need to close it. That's a very powerful psychological trigger in humans, that we need to close open loops, right? And there are a number of ways to do that, from a YouTube thumbnail, the text in the thumbnail, through to the words you say in the opening hook, through even using visual hooks as well. We could go quite deep into this, but that's some quick tips.
Yeah, I love that. So the idea of closing open loops. So it's about creating some interest in your head, or there might be a problem that you have seen. Like for me, like I love to solve problems, but it's, so if I see a question, like a problem question, it might be like how to stop my camera from overheating. I mean, that might be one thing. And I thought, oh yeah, I really need to know the answer to that. And at the beginning of the video, the person says, in this video, I'm going to show you a really easy way to stop your camera from overheating and get the best optimal picture from your camera or something. It might, I mean, that's just off the top of my head. Then that, if I'm interested in that subject, then I will want to watch that video so that I can close the loop and get the answer to that question. And I think that's a really fascinating thing. We need to be aware that people have short attention spans, and just that people are busy. And so this is a particular problem with live video, I think, because a lot of live videos they're a lot longer. They can be more rambly as well. And I think this is why we need to be really careful with people's time and be aware of that. Just because you have an hour of your time doesn't mean that your live video has to be an hour long, for example. So that's something to think about, I think. Let's go back to Libby. And again, we're going to talk a little bit about strategy as well in this one. Now, what did she talk about in this one? This was about, yeah, about live video and why it's a good medium and why it's a bit of a lazy medium as well. Not in a bad way, not in a bad way. So let's go over to Libby.
Live video is a great way of communicating more information about what it is that you do, or sharing hints and tips, or sharing your exposing your personality to people in, quite frankly, a sort of lazy way. And it's not intended to be derogatory when I say that in any way, shape, or form. For example, we're here, we're talking about this, we know this stuff in our head, so there's little prep actually that needs to happen for it. We turn up, we talk, you can make, I don't know, 5 to 10 different pieces of content out of this. And it's a great way to do it. And the thing about live video as well is that it's, generally speaking, unscripted stuff. So that's like I say, so the personality comes out, the ums and ahs and everything is all there, which is really good. But people get notifications about it. The platforms, whichever they are, like it. And so whether you're going on live on Instagram or YouTube, or you can set notifications so that if somebody goes live, you get told about it. What better way is there to build your business than to have people already set up saying, oh yeah, I'd like to see that when it comes. You can't do that in any other way. So it quite simply is, it's an essential piece, but it comes with a lack of confidence, which I know is a focus of what you teach people, Ian, but a lack of confidence, nerves, camera fright, all of these things. But actually, if you can get over that, you will soon realize that it's one of the single greatest ways to grow your audience, to grow your reputation, and therefore to grow your business.
I love Libby. Isn't that great? I mean, it's so true. It's live video it can be really scary. It's not for everyone. And I have to admit, I've been doing hundreds and hundreds of episodes. I mean, I've done well over 200 technically episodes of the Confident Live Marketing Show. If you add up all the bonuses, and then I had the free range social show before that. I've done other live shows. I mean, it's probably like well over 300, maybe 400 episodes live. And I am a lot more confident these days. I don't have the nerves that I used to do, but it's still hard work. It's still hard. Yet, it's actually, I wouldn't say lazy. I think it's a smart way of creating content, because it's a great way of you getting in front of the camera, being you, being authentic. It's a lot more difficult to not be authentic in front of a live camera, because it's live and you probably will stumble over your words. I know this isn't technically live because I've pre-recorded it, but I'm not editing it. I'm not editing any of my stumbling over any words. It's a great way to grow that community. It's a great way to create content quickly and easily. And that's what I have done since the beginning of this podcast. It's transformed that way. Now, as I move forwards past episode 200, and if you've been listening to the last few bonus episodes, you'll know that I am rethinking things. I am looking at tweaking and changing the way this show works, or the focus of that. And I think that's important, because yes, we should be consistent. Yes, we should have a strategy, but that strategy also needs to be agile and flexible as well. And I don't think I have been agile and flexible. So we need to have a strategy that changes. It needs to remain fun for you. It needs to remain fun for your audience as well. But I really love that from Libby. Well, we are almost out of time. I'm trying to keep these really short. So let's go back to Ben and hear his word really on strategy, because and particularly with live video, should we, the question is, should we do live video, pre-recorded video? It's all those kind of questions. So how should live video fit into all of that? So where's the button? Here it is. I'm going to play this now. Let's go to Ben. I see quite a few people doing that it's pre-recorded first, live second. Or do you think somebody like me, who is going live as my primary video format, that can work on its own?
I think it depends on where you're at as far as like how you make that decision. Because if, for example, you have been publishing longer form live videos onto YouTube, and so you've got that kind of history on your channel, then you have the data to look at. So if you pay attention to what's happening with those videos, whether or not they're retaining viewership for what you want them to, as far as like people are actually watching those replays and they're staying engaged on those videos, which is more important than the number of actual views on the videos. So if you've got the data, then make decisions based on the data and the metrics that are available to you. If you don't and you're starting out, then my recommendation would be to focus on making pre-recorded or published or produced video content and do that, make that the best content that you can with minimal fluff so that you can get to the point. People come to your channel, come to your video, not for you at the early stage of growing a YouTube channel. They come for what they want to learn. They come for what they've searched YouTube for or what they want to engage in, not because of you, unless maybe you've built your brands in some other place and you've just started a YouTube channel there, right? So that's where I'd say that early on, I think it's better to focus on really nailing your YouTube strategy as a produced video, and then to inject some live video when you've built the audience to I would say a minimum of 1,000 subscribers on your channel. That would be my recommendation. So, but there are multiple ways to achieve anything, right?
Yeah, really interesting. So what's your take on that? Would you do what I've done, which is to start with live video and create your content from that? And I don't think that's not Ben wasn't talking against that idea. So let's talk about the three options here. The three option is what we didn't discuss there, which is start with live video, maybe go live to LinkedIn, and then take bits of that out and turn it into video for YouTube. So that's the repurposing option. Option number 2 is kind of what we were discussing there, which is to just go live on YouTube, and then on top, and then maybe later on, then move on to pre-recorded videos. So that's not it's not quite repurposing. It's live first, and then as well as that, do some pre-recorded video. And then option number 3 is just establish a presence by creating really quality pre-recorded video. Live is not really part of that at all. But then once you've established a really good brand, really good quality videos, and a community of people, then you can then incorporate live into that. And I would say that option 1 and option 3 are probably the best option for a lot of people. If you're a recovering perfectionist like me, then actually the live element, or treating your videos as if they were live, is a really good option to get the stuff done. Because people like me have always historically found pre-recorded videos difficult because of the whole perfectionism thing. But it's really up to you. You've got to think about your strategy and what works for you. So I'm going to leave it there because we are past the 15-minute mark, and I'm trying to keep these short and snappy. If you have watched this live, thank you so much. It would be great to see you next week at the same time. These are short episodes, so you might have only just kind of caught the last bit of it. And if so, I'm sorry. But you can listen to this as a podcast as well. This episode will already be out at iag.me/podcast. That's iag.me/podcast. Do spread the word. But until next time, I need to find the button. It's always eluding me. It's over there somewhere because I don't have it on my Stream Deck in front of me. But until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live videos. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.